But now that we have the three of us here, are there any questions, suggestions, hypotheses, corners we need to round off with where we last left our coterie members? And yes, this is me playing for time as well, so. No, bro.
I feel like there were things missed last time that we didn't quite find out, but I don't know how to go about getting those things that we missed last time. Found out.
What do you think was missed?
Okay, so we kind of figured out like we were being used and played for time, supposedly, but did we figure out to what end, or did we like who all is actually using who? Like who is the master manipulator in this situation that is causing us to waste time and focus on something else? Is it the council or is it the Hakata? Like, who is it?
Sophia thinks it's one of two people, but she hasn't put the whole big puzzle together yet.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, because I know we all have theories as to why and who and what, but you didn't actually, like...
Yes, but without beating the horse too specifically much and oversharing things that I would like you all to find out in character, the best way forward, the best road forward is always communication. Sharing your ideas could trigger lightning strikes of your own deductions. But if no one knows, then no one knows. And, you know, Miriam's poor Rose last week didn't help with that.
So it's Miriam's fault. Got it.
No, it's not anyone's fault. No one's at fault or the victim of it all. It's just their role, their lack of even getting a standard DC 3 last week did leave a few details on the table yet explored.
We've done the most important part, that we found the scapegoat.
That's what I'm saying.
So when Lucio gets here, you all can go ahead and enact your plan to stake him when he's not paying attention. Hey, Lucio, how we doing?
What is going on?
Not on fire much.
I'm late by 3 minutes and suddenly you decide to kill me?
Well, one
wasn't sudden.
One, you're already dead. Two, a staking won't actually kill you unless, of course, you're allowed to stay staked longer than your vitae could stand.
I see how it is.
How was work?
I see. I wasn't late because of work. I was actually at a friend's house until about a little while ago.
Oh, nice. You got the day off?
No, I worked in the morning. It was a split day for me.
Oh, very, very cool. Light-ish days are always appreciated.
The last couple days have not been terrible because we've decided, screw the schedule, screw the hours that they give us, we're just gonna write whoever we want in. And we have been, and it's wonderful.
You've been getting stuff done?
Yes. We leave with a clear queue every day.
Now the important question, are you caught up with all of your inventory maintenance?
Outdates, I believe, are done, but cycle counts are not done.
But are they as bad as the store I did inventory last week?
They're worse. it's post inventory for us, but because of the madness that was happening for the last month, and because that one floater literally was so bad that we got backed up for 2 weeks because he just didn't do anything during the time he was there. Yeah, we haven't been able to touch him, but now that everything else is all caught up, we'll be able to finally fix that.
Hey.
Sounds like there's a little progress to be made, and that's always a good thing.
You want to know the crazy thing, though?
Yes.
It turns out that floater didn't quit because he was back on last Tuesday, apparently.
Yeah.
Filling in for the pharmacist for like the first half of the day. We were all shocked because we thought he left for good. Also, our new PIC made a comment about him saying, like, I thought he's been a pharmacist for like 30 years. Why does he suck so much?
So basically the same thing I was saying about the floater they were trying to put in my store. Got it.
Yeah. Pretty much. But that's neither here nor there. I am here. I am prepared to not get staked. At least by my friends.
Excellent. Well, on such a joyous moment as this, such a gathering of hopeful and powerful, and the demons of our own worst imaginations, our cast of characters, I'd like to say thank you all. It really is very important to have these moments of play, and with Chicago being the foundational aspect for literally all of the play that I'm currently involved in every facet of it. Thank you, and thank you. If we don't have any questions, suggestions, hypotheses, or corners that we need to round off, I am very amenable with diving right in.
Sploosh.
Geronimo.
All right. Well, that being the case, I'd like to say that this is officially Soup City Sins, Season 14, Episode 6, Ticking by the Miles Marked. When we last left our coterie, through a consensual understanding of the details presented them, through carefully leaping behind their paths of logic and turning blind corners of thought from one to the next like a fire catching kindling, they came to several realizations that this last few nights have been a stalling tactic, that there is some hand at work against them, and they are in the presence of and possession of two stakes that could be driven right to the heart of their coterie, their continued existences, and their potential futures, if any outside of the coterie were made aware as to what they have and what they wield. They had managed to return power, as it were, back to the Haven. They had managed to see how deep and dark that they were willing to explore, and how much further they might be willing to go. They have their sense of personal boundaries as well as the boundaries of their coterie as a whole. The impossible having become their standard operating procedure may not be enough moving forward, because even as they repeatedly have managed to overcome the insurmountable, to stop the unstoppable, to reach into depths and corners of the world where not only angels but fools themselves fear to tread, the walls definitely have grown closer, and the path with far fewer branches ahead of them. As Hestia moved towards turning on the incinerating furnace, the cremation station as it were, and prepare to toss in Alexa's corpse, housing the embered strands of Sylvia's soul. We left. And just like a recurring thought, we are back in that moment. The body there before the open and heated doors of the furnace. Ignacio's desiccating corpse visible via the open morgue drawer door, and our coterie gathered looking on. What is it that we are doing?
Well, unless anybody can give her a reason not to, we know what Hesty is doing.
Lucio will pipe in. Let's get rid of Ignacio's body. I misspoke, my bad. Let's get rid of Ignacio's body. He's nothing but an empty husk. He has no value anymore. All they did was save us the guilt of killing him, if there was any to begin with.
So we're burning the evidence. Got it.
Alexa's body might be somewhat useful for our original plan, like he said. It's closer to the match, and it is still kindred.
It's too dangerous now. I have to just burn her, I think.
As long as the other body is able to be used convincingly, then I'm fine with that too.
Well, that would be up to Miriam. Miriam, do you think the entirely dead body can be used in the way we need, or do we just need to leave Alexa's body staked until we can get it to Decibel to do the thing with the face, and then, you know.
I don't think it would really matter either way, but the thing that I'm concerned about is the level of decay. Does human bodies decay?
It died this night. It can't have decayed that much.
Take a look at it, because obviously I think something's going on that's speeding things up.
The human body? I'm asking out of character. The human body is the one that's decaying rapidly?
No, Ignacio
They were both.
Okay, so if Ignacio's body is decaying rapidly, then just get rid of it. We've already agreed to that. The human body is still perfectly fine. It just died tonight.
Okay, but we need to figure out a way to preserve it until we can take it to Decibel, but we need to decide which one's going in the oven, because I already... 2 of the 3 have to go.
Well, that choice should be easy to make.
Alright, let's put it to a vote then. All in favor of burning Alexa?
Hestia kind of hesitates for a second looking at it, but then slowly raises their hand.
Miriam will kind of shrug. It's like, well, I didn't really know her, so... Or this one.
It's best to kill her.
Alright, let's put her in the oven. We're gonna easy bake this bitch.
Ignacio first, just in case.
Fair enough.
So once the oven gets up to temp, she is rolling him into the rolling thingy, and it starts rolling him in on the conveyor belt.
There's something that's expressively, especially flammable about the kindred physiology. With humans, with cremation, it's the fat that causes the real combustion, the real heat to magnify enough to start melting bone and so forth and so on. But kindred, it is the entirety of their being that is extraordinarily flammable. So once set to the flame, it is a death sentence usually. 60% of the time, any kindred exposed to open flames will not survive, or not survive in the way that they were. There's a before and after moment for them. It's always a interesting and slightly suicidal fixation that happens as the flame itself. You know that it's controlled by the gas. You know that it is a controlled and safe moment, but there is a whispering worry every time that door is open and those flames begin licking the air, and especially as those doors are open and a body is slid in. The kindred body is slid in. It's like watching the magician's flash paper. Just a little heat, not even enough to actually do any real damage, is enough to make sure that no kindred survives. And with the heat of the oven, there's zero chance that anyone and anything caught inside of it would survive. All the while, your beast, each of your beasts, knows that but for the grace of God go you. With the wrong push, the wrong shove, the wrong enemy finding you all here for the perfect way to make sure you completely and totally disappear. Everything that you were, everything that you will ever be, gone in a flash of flame. And for Lucio, it's especially poignant because that body, the mind that animated it, the soul that inhabited it, had been a childhood friend and his worst enemy throughout the bulk of his teenage and early life. While he was making a name for himself as a protector of the downtrodden and a finder of lost things, Ignacio was being further groomed to be the monstrous heir apparent to the Castiglione and Torre Empire. And Lucio was the one thing that he wanted to be destroyed.
Lucio is quiet while he just watches the body burn in the oven.
That moment of silence is filled for Sophia with the very real factor that though their hands were not specifically that which lit the match or turned on the furnace, there is no way that that rooster will not come home. You have officially and actively begun a war where there's only one outcome. Either you win or you will cease to be. As a woman, as a Rossellini, as a member of the Hakata, you know that heirs are inviolably protected, whether they're by blood, which they usually are, or adopted and chosen. The idea of passing something to or creating another colony of your family's business is as close to destroying something's future as you can be. And as most heirs are male, it's even more of the glass ceiling shattering around your head.
Someone always has to die.
In that space, in that silence, as the flames take Ignacio into the never never of forever, there's not even the promise that he may be put to work in the Deadlands. There's no promise that there's anything for him on the other side of the veil. For while everyone else believes that the soul of Ignacio may have been taken out, Sophia knows with all true sense of understanding that he has been destroyed by you all permanently. There's very little chance that his soul will be anywhere except for nowhere. The absence of all things, the discontinuing of the immortal soul, that is more than likely what has befallen that Ignacio. And while you all have taken steps to make sure that there are certain places in the haven that are safe, that are secure, unfortunately AT&T and Sprint and their bastard children MCI and US Cellular and Telelink and US Telnet and all of the many others don't hold those same ideas or beliefs. So as Hestia's phone vibrates to life, it is with no small startle, it is with no small jump scare out of the clear blue that there's a call.
She very carefully slides the phone into her hand and looks at the screen.
You've never seen such a very long phone number scrolling across your screen. You've never seen such a random assortment of digitized information that makes little to no sense. It is apparently an international call. It is apparently from somewhere else.
She's frowning softly and looks at Sophia and shows them the number. Does this prefix look familiar to you?
Does it look familiar to me?
Having been a world traveler, yes it does. You didn't know that Hestia knew anyone that was located in the UK, but apparently she does.
We'll shrug. Is he international?
No particular. From where?
He's from the UK.
Okay, so once Sophia says that, does she know anybody in the UK?
Not as far as she's aware.
Okay, so curiosity is killing the cat. She has to know. So she is going to step somewhat away from the furnace and very carefully flick the answer button and be quiet.
You know, it's funny. I didn't think you guys would actually even answer. You know how much work it took to get your number of all numbers? You got good friends out there. So, I need you all to do me a favor. And I'll make sure the kid gets his sisters back sooner.
Okay. Favor what?
The other no good son of mine was doing something for the family and he disappeared 2 nights ago. 3, according to the wife. It probably is more than that, knowing how much she covers for him. So I need you guys to go find him, bring him back. And we'll do a little exchange. You get to keep your little dirty little secret with Vivi for a little while longer till I find other leverage. And the kid gets his sisters back.
Is this Hugo or Wojciech?
Wojciech directly.
I see his face. It's like, oh, great. She doesn't say anything. She just looks at this, like, okay, wait a minute now. You already gave us the baby thing to do. We're working on that, by the way.
Yeah. Your slowness is actually paying off for you. I got other people that I'm working at to find her and that little silver-haired fox she calls a friend. What's wrong with you guys, you kids? You can just say that you like somebody, you want to get in their pants. They gotta be friends, or they gotta be booty call or sneaky link to whatever else you're using. So anyway, your slowness with that takes that off the table. What's most important for me right now is finding out what happened to my son. And the usual sources are not forthcoming.
The thing is that why would that benefit us at all? And then on top of that, who's to say he would even come with us anywhere if we were to find him? As far as he knows, we're going to try to kill him.
Despite your pinches for doing usually the dumbest thing, you guys have lucked out so far. So, hopefully your luck continues. You bring him, we exchange him for yours. And we get back to our normal lives.
Cassie is looking at the rest of them like, what the fuck do I say? I guess that's that, right? That's all there is to say.
Sure thing. So we got a deal. I'll send Hugo around with some details. He's got to take care of a few things out in the south suburbs, but he'll be by your place before the end of the night.
Good old Hugo. She hangs up.
They're fucking with us. They know. And there's no way.
There's no way.
Coincidence that he called exactly at that moment. There's no fucking way. He knew.
It was a setup to him so he can keep your sister. Maybe kill the other one.
It's a setup to start an actual fucking war with us.
We've been at actual war for some time.
The body was an empty husk. And of course, the moment, the split fucking second it's gone, is when he calls.
Estia goes to put her phone in the smart room.
Would it be possible to find his spirit and shove it in another body? Kinda like this mess. She points at Alexa's body.
Many things are possible.
And she comes back. This is turning into a parent trap situation, I think. You ever seen that movie? Where they like switch lives or something like that? Or would it be more like body switching?
Freaky Friday?
Yeah, where we get one body and it's supposed to be this person, but it's not really that person because we put somebody else's soul in that body.
Did he say it has to be the right body though?
He said giving back Ignacio. His son is missing and he is looking for his son. I think anything less than Ignacio would fuck us. Well, we're already fucked, but you know what I mean.
We are fucked. I don't see much way of us getting out of this, to be quite honest with you.
He's playing with you. He had to have known the timing is far from being coincidental, I think.
Well, there's one of two things we can do with this situation. Well, there's one of multiple things, but the two main things we can do with this situation right now are say fuck it and go back to what we were doing, ignore that entirely, or come up with a harebrained scheme as to how to pass off somebody that's not Ignacio and make them look like Ignacio. Pick one, but we gotta stick with it once we're starting it.
I'm inclined to say fuck it and just bring them the head that looks like Vivi. That way we can at least close that thread.
That will not get you what you want now. You said that on the, well, assuming, could we all hear the phone call there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I put it on speaker.
He has said not to worry about that now. He wants Ignacio and trained for your sister, so I think it's just ploy to do whatever he has probably already done to your sister, but
Storyteller, do we know what happened to Vivi after we last met her?
Yes, you all let her go to ground, waiting on your word.
Okay.
And unfortunately, with her distance from both the coterie and her own family, as well as her efforts to protect Dizzy's brother, there's only one or near one other place where she might be, but having gone to ground.
So, last chance, I need to know what the fuck we're doing with Alexa's body. Is it going in the oven, or we need it?
Burn the body.
burn it. It's too dangerous to have, and it's too dangerous because of what is in it.
This time, Hester takes a little more time and she's literally leaning over the body, looking at it face to face. I know you're in there, and I know you can hear me. Your people, a little ragtag group that you put together, is a threat. We can't have them trying to come here and get you. I wanted to give you a chance. I wanted to learn from you and maybe patch up old wounds. But unfortunately, we can't do that now. So, since I didn't get to say it last time, goodbye, Sylvia. Let's not meet again. Under any circumstances. And she pushes Alexa's body into the conveyor belt.
As you're pushing Alexa's corpse into the fire, you could swear, even though you know that it's not possible, and it is clearly 100% a figment of your own imagination, you could swear that there's a smile. Just a brief, flickering smile. You're not entirely sure whether it is your guilt, your small sense of vengeance, or a combination of all of the above combined with your beast playing tricks on your own mind. And the body sinks into the flames.
And as much as it feels like she should stand and watch it, she turns and walks away from it. Going to a table and just kind of letting out air, deflating. Kind of like you've been running on adrenaline for like 24 hours straight and you're finally crashing. That's just physicality she has right now. Just, and it's quiet.
You know you did not kill her, right?
It's more that I didn't stop her from being killed. Second time? The time that she lost her actual body. That time I didn't stop, and I should have apparently to other people stepped in or tried to keep it from happening, and I just stood by and let it happen. So that's my fault. And now she wouldn't have had to steal Alexa's body if she had her own body still, but I mean, what else are you supposed to do if somebody attempts to kill you?
Alexa's body had problems before Sylvia came into it.
True. And we knew that there was a very slim chance of getting Alexa back at all anyway, but we had to try. So now we are 2 bodies down and 1 left, and nobody knows who this person is except for us, really. So it's not like a big deal if we get caught with this body, but are we... oh, God.
At this point, I don't even know if there's much use to the body. If the deal's off with Vivi, then it doesn't even matter. We would just indebt ourselves to Decibel for nothing.
Well, technically, we still owe him a favor just for asking for a favor, so there's that. But it's how deep do you want the rabbit hole to go, basically, I guess. I mean, if we ask him to follow through on this favor, then yes, we owe him a much bigger favor. But just asking him for the favor in the first place means we owe him something in return.
Storyteller, I just want to clarify, was that actually what we agreed to? Because I thought the only thing we would owe him was just getting them in touch with the people who made the that blood he liked.
No, that was View and Felix that made that arrangement so you all could meet up with him. The connections for that were separate. Your favor is still on the table between you and him. His portion still being yet unpaid, but the favor is still there between you. The boon still stands. You all.
So we still owe him just for showing up and asking him?
Yep. The boon is still there, is still standing, but neither party has actually acted on it. You have a verbal agreement for the contract to be fulfilled.
Okay. Then I think we'll just put a rain check on it, because I don't think there's much point in us pursuing the face swap anymore. They're on to us. We know they're on to us. There's no point in playing that game. And speaking of debts, I'm gonna make another phone call, because I don't think there's much need for us to have Safoa send us all that stock anymore. Since we're not going to be completing any sort of blood rituals tonight. So if you'll excuse me for a moment while I make that call.
As Lucio steps out of the room, leaving you all a few moments of space, there is a sword hanging over your head. It is tied with the lightest, thinnest thread possible. You fully understand the burden that lies ahead of you all. There is no denying that as of this moment, effectively, once Ignacio's body was licked by flames, you all effectively threw down a gauntlet to one of the most powerful criminal enterprises in the Midwest. You threw down the gauntlet and declaration of war openly and forcefully to beings that deal in violence. Even if just a fraction of what you all believe is 100% truth, it means that the Cold War that has been in existence has heated up. The ice has been defrosted. And as Lucio leaves the room, is there anything that you all would like to discuss?
Is Hugo coming here?
Yep. That's
To
what I
collect
assumed.
the body he gave us.
No. Hugo is coming here to supposedly, Hester does air quotes, supposedly give us some sort of information and start the whole process of us looking for Ignacio when he gave us Ignacio. Which is why I said, good old Hugo. And I'm sure that's gonna go over real well when he gets here. Because we're gonna have to figure out. He knows we can't play stupid. He knows we can't because obviously he gave us the body. And I'm pretty sure he already knew the body was empty when he gave it to us. So there's that.
This could be interesting.
Here's what you need to ask yourself: is Mama Cass still alive? How far does this go?
That old lady is gonna be real tough to kill, as far as I remember. She's kind of a badass in a way, but especially now that he's made her what she is. So I don't know. That one's yeah. She probably put him up to it. Because obviously he had to know that we had the body, so...
Well, you remember that just getting the body was her directly betraying him because she had foreseen or realized that he could not win this war.
Or so she says. Or so she told Hugo to say.
It makes no sense for her to sacrifice her own son for a mind game.
I don't know. They really, really want the Haven. They really, really want this place.
Yeah, but it does not add up for me. He has no heir now. This is very important. And he won't be making one anytime soon. Because despite what some of our kindred might think, those parts no longer work.
I think he maybe might hold out a small, tiny bit of hope that he can flip Lucio, but he also seems like the type to burn it all to the ground and not give a shit.
Lucio is not Hakata. Neither was Ignacio, but that is not public knowledge so much. But there is a rift that has gone between them, and he did mention her in the call. So I wonder if, since his call, the timing was too convenient, I wonder if she is even still alive. Clearly he is. He made a call. Hugo will certainly have more information since he seems to be caught in the middle of this.
And speak of the devil and he shall appear. At least that's how it normally goes with timing of things. However, that is not in this particular moment what is happening. As Lucio steps outside of the morgue where the coterie has spent far too many nights for it to be anything more than the central hub of their operations, he makes his call. And who does he call?
He's trying to call Safoa to cancel that debt. Because he doesn't need to indebt himself any further than he already is. After that call, he has another idea of a call he can make, but first he wants to take care of that issue.
You know the funny thing about being a successful dealer of blood? It comes with its own level of scrutiny. It comes with its own level of... It's a different game. And while Lucio never makes the parallels, it very much is a drug trade. It very much is a black market dealings that has and does cause ever ascending amounts of damage. Even as a user himself, back in the glory days of him hanging on to all of that beautifully obtained innocence and naivety for the world around him, Lucio believed that partaking of the watered down pablum of the fractionated blood was in some measure of a way of protecting his own soul. In the course of doing so, he did grievous harm to a dealer who was equally making their way in the world and building themselves up and doing small harm to keep large ones from happening. And so it is interesting that in his conversations with Sephora that Itzhak comes up not once, but twice. Not only does Itzhak come up once and twice, but so too does the Capone gang and Clyde, and the pressure that they've been applying to dealers such as Itzhak, and how Clyde has begun operating counter to the Blood Czar. It's a small aside, but being a detective, it is not any effort on Lucio's part to begin connecting the dots. And he realizes that the dealer he gruesomely and graphically wounded is also in the line of sight and potential line of fire with a former coterie member. Clyde was nothing if not directed. Clyde was nothing if not consistently forceful and targeting a particular end, one in which he would obtain money and fame and success, and he had a path. And in these last few months, he has been cutting a swath through the local drug dealers, removing gangs, bending them to his own will, and forcing them to become his own little army.
Before we continue, I just want to confirm, are you talking about Bill or Clyde?
Oh, because sorry, Bill. Sorry, I said the wrong name. Sorry, I do apologize. But yes, Bill. Bill has been cutting a swath, and Bill has been making himself at home. In the mentioning of him, and as he comes back into conscious thought, carries his own sort of weight. There's a choice there, but it's one that you don't have to make just in this moment. The choice clearly being Bill's work to build his own network supported by and in support of the Capone gang, and the threat that they are posing with Itzhak, Lucio's former dealer, the person who helped Lucio maintain Lucio until various other things happened. And as that call ends, you said you had another call in mind.
I did, but I just want to confirm before I make it. Did the kindred that met Lucio the night he tried to call out to Blakeney, did they actually leave him a number? I know they left him that sign to use, but did they leave any other form of communication?
They actually didn't, but Lucio's a detective. Putting one and one together doesn't always add up to 2. Sometimes it's 11. And with various efforts on his part, getting a contact number isn't as difficult as it would be for some. He is, after all, a member in good standing of the Blood Network in Chicago. People talk to get their fix.
Okay. In that case, Lucio will... Yeah, fuck it. He's gonna attempt to reach out, but he'll do so in the clean room because he's almost certain someone's probably gonna be listening in on the phone otherwise.
Hello? Who's this?
Your friend from the other night.
Ah, Detective Darcy. How are you?
I would like to know if it's okay if I bring a friend along when I come and join you. And that will be soon.
You can bring whoever you would like so that you feel safe.
It's not about feeling safe. I just think she's going to be a valuable asset.
And then by all means, of course.
Then hopefully I'll see you tomorrow.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
Click.
There is an unnerving factor that crawls into the base of your spine. You just had a conversation with someone else who is of similar, if not the exact same blood as you. There didn't seem to be any issues
I was just about to say.
electronically. There seemed to be a clear, unbroken connection. And with everything that you faced, with all the travails along the way, and personally and as far as the coterie are concerned, it is one of the scariest things you have dealt with in the last few months.
Lucio's going to put that terrifying thought to the side for now, and we'll try to rejoin the coterie.
So just as Sophia is adding up the details of where they feel the situation is with the Castiglione and Tories, specifically with Ignacio, Lucio returns back in at that moment. And as the newest member of the coterie, because at this point there's no denying that Miriam has been privy to death, destruction, dismay, the haunting of souls lost along the way, and the divestment of innocence from the world. There's no middling fence sitting when it comes to what she has already paid to be a member of this coterie. And as she sits and listens to the hypotheses of what could be, and what might be, what will be, there is a brief, at the corner of her eyes, flash of red dress. She knows that dress. She knows that dance. She, at this point, could probably copy the entirety of that dance from memory, because it still comes back to her. Because after all, kindred don't dream. So every instance of the subconscious mind or the powers from beyond the veil reaching out is something of note, and it stayed with her for long enough that there are pages upon pages of notes, from the detailing of the shoe to the detailing of the dress to how the dress fit to the maneuvers of the dance to the number of voices, if not faces, out there in the dark watching this performance, and what the room looked like. And there it is, just a briefest glint and glimmer out the corner of the eye. And it's like all things of the dark, sometimes they can only be seen from the corner of the vision. If you look directly at them, they disappear, they fade from view. But just those fleeting glimpses and glances dancing just there at the periphery of your vision.
Miriam will just sigh aloud. Pardon me while I go crazy.
Not that you are a huge rock fan, but that Queen song starts playing in your head. I'm going slightly mad. And you all are back in the morgue, the hub, the central point of the coteries' existence. And there are nothing but plans and plans and plans and things that need to be accomplished. What is it that the coterie is doing?
So, this other body, are we putting it aside so that it's preserved in case we need it to talk to Decibel, or are we not doing that anymore? Because while I have the other on, I might as well chuck it in there if we don't need it.
May as well chuck it in there then.
Okay. And she puts the girl in fulfilling their promise that she would never be found into the oven, and wipes down all the tables, because that's a Hestia thing to do. It's like, I'm done with my toys, now I must clean them up. Looking at Lucio. Hey, if you got a minute, I want to talk to you about something before Hugo gets here.
Alright. Did you want to talk in private, or did you just want to say it aloud?
Yeah, because I got some things that only me and you would remember, and I just don't feel like having to explain it to the other two. Sorry, guys.
Alright.
So she kind of pulls him away, not to the safe room, but to that back office that is in the morgue that would typically normally be the examiner's office. And lowers her voice so that it does not carry. Now, because it's technically a secret, do I tell the player themselves what it is, or can I just say it and then the other two don't know?
Well, yes, of course. Say it. You guys have a moment of privacy.
I know I said this to you before, and I know we are stuck in the case of having to kind of trust her. But Sophia slipped while you were making your phone calls. Remember we asked directly if we thought that Ignacio's soul might be retrievable?
Yes, I remember.
They knew it wasn't. They knew he was well and truly gone. From the start. When, I don't know if you caught that, but when she said, why would Cass sacrifice her son, something that wouldn't pan out, meaning she knew he wasn't going to get him back. Meaning
Possible that she knew.
They all, I'm not saying they all know the same magic because that sounds weird and not like I mean it, but they're raised with similar types of knowledge and magic, and which is why they can tell who did what, because this person, oh, I know that signature sort of thing, you know what I mean? So it feels like she knew from jump that Ignacio was not in the body and was not retrievable, but couldn't say that because otherwise who knows what we would have done. We would have either maybe left the body. I don't know. I don't know how that would have changed exactly what we did, but we wouldn't have been running around like chickens without our head on about what to do with the situation, and it wouldn't have taken us so long to realize that this was a fucking setup.
So you don't trust her then? You think she's part of this?
Not entirely, but she's said it plenty of times. I'm not part of your group. I'm just watching. I'm just advising. And if shit starts flying, what do you want to bet we get left in the fucking dust and she's gonna watch her own ass?
I'm not
smart, yes, but
I know for sure she's going to.
That's the point.
We are tools to her. She's practically outright said this. She's been keeping all sorts of things hidden from us.
Exactly. So I'm not the only one noticing this. Because I think there have been plenty of times when we've asked things and she hesitates because I can see the gears turning and it's like, how do I answer this with truth but not truth?
Exactly. And you remember back at the trial when Ignacio mentioned something about God machines? I asked her about what that was and she basically evaded the question completely.
I think the God machine is what this is. I think it's a nexus.
In any case,
with the nexus power, you can remember the fact that I said that it backs up and then if everything overflows the dam, it's catastrophic.
Yes.
They're all connected. If you can control a majority of them, you have lots of power, tappable power at your fingertips, and they all work with the dead, and the Nexus is a waypoint for dead energy. to pass into the world and out of the world. So technically, if you could control that, wouldn't that make you like hella powerful?
It's possible, but it's also possible there's more to it than that. In any case, the point is that she's hiding practically all sorts of things. We can't trust her, not fully.
But the problem then lies, what do we do? Because we have to seem like we're still trusting her, listening to her when we don't trust her. Because then, like, you know, it's gonna get to a point where we're like, obviously, like, bitch bullshit. But how do we... I'm a horrible liar. Well, no, according to your friend Martin, I'm a terrific liar because I lie to myself all the time, but you know what I mean.
You spoke with Martin recently?
A month or more ago? Basically, the night I threw that big bonfire, he showed up.
Oh.
And said something about people starting fires all over the city. And that was when I figured out that the Pirate King was tied into that whole arson thing. Yeah. So that's when I saw him last, and he was not too happy with me, but whatever. I mean, he's not my dad.
Off topic here, though. It's hard to say what to do about Sophia when, frankly, it's hard to say what to do about any of this. Admittedly, without her, we are probably screwed because we would have no one to speak on our behalf for the Hecata. We would have no insight into any of their actions. At the same time, we can't rule out the possibility that she's just a plant, that she's a double agent trying to undermine us.
You know what? That's a good point, because what if it's like your brothers and your sisters fight with each other all the time, right? But if anybody else attacks your brother or your sister, you're gonna go to bat for them and be like, don't fight my brother or sister, and, you know, have their back. So maybe, even though she maybe doesn't really like Welshik, it's still family?
From what I've gathered, family is a very important subject for the Hecata in general. It's exactly like you said. Even though the family fights and squabbles for power among each other, they don't like when outsiders interfere. And we are very much outsiders.
Facts. So for now, we basically just smile and nod.
For now, we treat her exactly like she says she is, an advisor. We don't have to listen to her, we're not beholden to her. Listen to what she says, but we decide for ourselves what we do. If we smell bullshit, we call her out on it. Simple as that.
Okay.
My only other concern, though, is Miriam is a bit of a wild card right now. She's the newest member of the coterie, and I'm not sure what to make of her yet. I don't know if we can potentially utilize that unknown factor to our advantage, now that at least some of the Hecata know that she's one of us now.
That's another thing. I didn't want to say it in front of them, but since the whole Alexa's missing now, Alexa was the reason the Bahari were hunted in the first place. So maybe now that Alexa's gone, and nobody else knows about us killing Mama Walding, we can get word to Urzuli and maybe get Bahari presence back to normal in the city and out of our hair. And out of us having to fucking worry about it.
That would be a good idea. That would also potentially help settle the other matter that Sovereign brought before us.
Exactly. Because without Alexa's bloodthirsty kill them all, then maybe, just maybe, shit's died down enough that they would just be able to slowly work their way back in, and then next thing you know, oh hey, Bahari, when did you get here?
We can potentially pitch the idea to her.
Then if we do tell Miriam that, do we tell Miriam that we're one of the reasons that Mama Walding isn't alive anymore?
No, the fewer people who know that, the better. We keep that in.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought.
Need to know baseness, and the only people who need to know are us two. And we never speak of it aloud ever again.
Got it. So, we have to go back probably, because they're probably figuring out that we've been in here far too long. What do we say we were doing this whole time?
We can...
Wait, I got an idea. Lean down.
What?
Just lean down.
Okay. Lucio will lean down.
She tousles the shit out of his hair and then takes a little bit of the lipstick off of her lips, which is like goth black, and then smears it at the corner of his mouth and like musses his clothes.
There's no way they're going to buy this. There's no possible way.
You mean you haven't... You don't think they've noticed me making eyes at you or something? You're my type, remember? And she's telling him this, mind you, but at the same time dying a little bit inside because it's like confessing a crush. So she is hurt, like if cheeks could flame, they would be flaming, but she's like biting at her lower lip like stranger things have happened.
Well, I guess this'll work, I suppose. Right, shall we head back?
That's just nods and doesn't say anything. She'll let him walk out first, though.
And while they are away and having a shelter old home week in the office, is there anything discussed between Miriam, Sophia, and Sylvia?
No, Miriam is sitting on the floor when you emerge, seemingly off in her own little world, eyes glancing over at the corner where there doesn't seem to be anything, and looks down at her phone and types a reply to someone. Then she glances over the corner again.
Sophia will probably have a short chat with Silvio about maybe going home tonight for a change. So I assume we've been going home every night, but I haven't been sleeping here. But a little earlier, since after Hugo leaves, there ain't much going on. So
not everyone's back in the same space at the same time. Conversations drawn to a close.
Does Hestia notice Miriam like tearing her eyes away from the corner?
Yes.
Hestia looks in the corner.
You definitely need a maid or cleaning service. As clean as the surfaces are, the tables and what have you, as clean as the actual surface space is, the fact that you all are dead is glaringly obvious. There are certain things that you all can live with that the living would have creepy crawlies over. The dust bunnies are large enough to swallow mice. The gloom and lack of light in those areas is the sort of thing that would trigger nightmares in children who are afraid of the dark and some adults. There is no wholesome aspect to the area that you all are inhabiting and have inhabited for weeks on end. The morgue is in a state of disrepair that would cause the living to fear for their mortal souls. But for you all, it is just set dressing. You don't need that space. It's not something that stands out to you. You don't need every corner that's uninhabited to be spick and span. You can't catch any diseases. Well, you can. You can be carriers, but you can't succumb to any diseases. You can't be creeped out or get lung rot from any of the mold. None of that actually factors in. And looking in that corner, it is clear that you need a cleaning service.
Okay, I know the corner's dirty, but weird. Doesn't typically bother anybody. Is that what you're looking at? Like kind of catching Miriam's attention.
She'll look up from her phone and shake her head. The woman in the red dress has been haunting me.
Wait,
she'll kind of point over in that direction again.
What woman in the dress?
It is entirely plausible that you have seen her sketching like some sort of a dancer type in red. This person.
She looks at the drawing. Is the face familiar?
No, not specifically. There is Nash is too fresh in everyone's mind. There is no if, ands, or buts about it that looking at the youthfulness, that it doesn't trigger that aspect for you. The somebody help me that stayed with you for nights afterwards. There's no way that looking at the girl in the red dress that you are not reminded of Nash's meal to go that he had prepared, or that his predilections ran to those with blood of his own veins. Looking at that face, it's hard not to see it as a feminine form of Nash himself. Rakishly attractive, wild hair pulled into a nice tight bun, a few strands left because they refused to be handled or managed. The light navel physicality, the wiry, sinewy muscles, all of that's there in the image, and you know that it's more than likely just your mind connecting dots that aren't really there, but that's what stands out in your head.
But it's enough of a weird thing for Hestia to hear that Miriam keeps seeing this person to switch to sense the unseen and look in the corner.
You do realize what the Haven actually is.
Yeah, I know, but what she's going to look for is, amongst all of them, woman in a red dress. She knows she's going to see more than what's there, but like...
You're gonna play Where's Waldo with the spirit world? Sure, go right ahead.
Yeah, basically.
And while that discussion is happening, and while those moments are taking place, you all realize that your haven, the morgue portion of your haven, is not accessible to the public. Meaning, if there was anyone there waiting for you, you'd be invisibly present and unaware all at the same time.
That was wits plus aspects, by the way.
There's an aphorism that is so well known that it doesn't even bear repeating. When one looks into the void, be careful, because the void stares back. You are never, ever truly alone in the center of a sea of the undead. You are never truly singular, because in the doing, in the piercing of the veil, in the realizing what's there and what's not and where the worlds overlap, there is a wealth of information that is indefatigably distracting, disorienting, kaleidoscopic, and being awash in it is breathtaking. If you breathe, it would be the entirety of what you could understand or perceive. It very well would also unenviably be maddening. There are all manner of specters and spirits, all manner of things that bump against our world. And there is no doubt that there are presences all about you all. And in piercing the veil and looking into it, you realize just how many are invisibly tied through your auras, Miriam's, Lucio's, and Sophia. Though in Sophia, they're not tied through their aura as if they were shunted in like blades in the dark. They are chained to her as if she's holding their leashes. Whereas those spirits and specters clinging and crawling over Lucio, the kaleidoscopic colors and this brief flickering images seem to be trying to chew their way through the firmament of his being in the same way that they are working at you and Miriam. Some brighter than others, but there is layer upon layer upon layer of nearly invisible presences sticking and clinging to you as if you are infested with bed bugs or lice.
Trying to tune them out and just kind of refocus on that corner again.
All right. Focusing through the miasmic, the encroaching, the parasitic nature of the spiritual world that is besetting you all. While you all waited in the morgue, is anything else happening? Is there any other conversation or any other task you are seeking to accomplish for the coterie as a whole?
Miriam will finally look up at the two and glance at Lucio and chuckle a little bit and just kind of point at her cheek a little bit where the lipstick was smeared.
Lucio will wipe away at where she points. And he'll also try and fix his hair and clothes.
Well, sometimes you feel like an almond joy, sometimes you don't. And while Lucio is straightening himself, and Hestia is swimming in the sauce of the supernatural. Moving through the towers and parapets of the castle built in the sky above the coterie's head, looking into the dark corners of where the worlds connect, combine, overlap, and bombard one another. Is there anything else the coterie is set to do?
Once she realizes she can't see the lady in red, she's not able to pick that one spirit out, she's gonna snap herself out of it and and kind of look at the rest of them. So, thing is, we're purposely being like tsunamied or bombarded with spirits. There are far more spirits than there are normally here, and they're attaching themselves to us and trying their best to get in. And we should probably go upstairs because Hugo wouldn't come to this door if we're going to meet Hugo, and I don't want him upstairs messing with the staff.
Fair enough. What do you mean they're trying to attach themselves?
Like, literally, say you fell in a bush full of ticks and you're covered, and they're trying to figure their way in.
Yeah, I have to say, I think I was happier not knowing that.
It's a purposeful haunting, basically. Again, probably sent by the people that sent Hugo.
Well, no, I've been seeing the lady since that pirate died.
Yeah, but that happened after Wojciech did whatever Wojciech did to start us on a downward spiral.
And will kind of tilt her head to the side and gesture with her hand, acknowledging the timeline. And then she will get up off the floor. Do you think this is just happening here, or everywhere else? Anywhere we go.
If we're like ghost bait, then probably anywhere we go. But see, the weird thing is, when I looked, we got them crawling all over us. Sophia has them on chains like some kind of weird BDSM club.
Yeah,
I don't know what's up with that.
I mean, that's really not that weird for a club.
They are servants.
Okay, so she's got servants, but we get chicks.
You don't know how to control them, and it makes sense.
The thing is, I've peered into the veil of this place before, and it's way normally more organized. This just seems like somebody tipped over a bowl of spirits on top of our head.
Would it be an after effect of the blackout, so to speak?
But it is more likely has to do with War of Wosik.
Yeah, I hate this. I don't know how to explain it, but this feels purposeful. Purposeful, overwhelming.
Plus, if Hugo is coming, he can control them as well, and he is a person that would attract them, so...
Lucio, hearing that, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your intelligence plus streetwise, or investigation, whichever is higher. And Hestia and Sophia, it would be your wits plus occult, and Miriam, yours would be intelligence plus streetwise or intelligence plus investigation. Your DC, so that you all are aware, is of course 3. There's something about death that cannot simply be contained with the more humane, conscious ideas of it. There is, upon every act of death, no matter how perniciously evil the person or being was, to no matter how saintly they were, there is an energy that is released. It causes a chain of events because it draws beings attracted by that power. It's like watching the Aurora Borealis or watching a Midwestern night on the 4th of July. The sky is lit with just explosive energy. And certain people, certain beings, even during their living, whether they actually live or just a facsimile that the kindred embody, have a plethora of souls and spirits and specters hounding their steps, much like hyenas after a pride of lions hunt, or like lions after a pack of hyenas hunt. You know there'll be more than enough kill for everyone to gorge themselves. You all destroyed Ignacio. You all destroyed Alexa's body and didn't feel an uptick in the amount of energy released. And Hugo is on the way. Even in the land of the living, the normal mundane criminals, Hugo is a name that, well, you know shit's gonna get real. So his efficacy in the mortal world, even if it was just the same in the world of the kindred, would let most of the spirits and specters know there may be a feast for them. So like carrion following the tracks of an apex predator, combined with the energy of actual complete death, complete devastation that was wreaked upon Ignacio's body and Alexa's, and the soul therein of Alexa, there should have been an overwhelming release of energy. But there wasn't. So, with that in mind, as you all head upstairs to meet Hugo, is there anything else you guys would like to discuss?
I feel like I need a shower now.
Only thing I'd like to ask is if Lucio can use the last bit of blood that he had it stocked in the Haven to lower his hunger, because he's a bit peckish right now, and he does need to start mending.
Yes, he can. It is his after all.
And then he will go ahead and do so. What will that bring his hunger down to?
It's easy to see that he'd probably have at least 2 hungers worth of blood still stored there at the Haven.
Okay. So then I guess that brings it down to 1, and he's going to risk 2 mending rolls.
Alright. Fire away.
Well, he's up to 2 hunger. And he's back up to 3 hunger. Well, that was productive.
But he looks less like death warmed over and something a little more reheated than that.
I know I keep bringing up weird things tonight, but considering what just happened, I didn't feel a change in the air like I normally would. That sort of thing. Remember when we were at the parking lot and you could almost feel it snap back into place? I didn't feel that this time. I don't want to say what that means, or I don't think I entirely understand what that means, but it's not good, whatever the fuck it is.
I think it means it was an empty body that we burned. Which we already knew.
Well, Ignacio's, but it should have at least reacted when we put Alexa's in there.
I don't know what to make of that. I am no expert in the goings-on of the dead.
Well, if that's the case, and if Sylvia got out of the body before we burned it, then that means she's still out there in the ether somewhere and could probably be reincarnated again instead of being caught and destroyed this time. It's can't say a later problem because it's probably going to bite us in the ass fairly quickly. But I guess it's not a right this minute problem.
That is very true.
So then what is a right this minute problem?
Hugo?
What Hugo is coming here to do. Because he already knows what he did. He already knows we fucking took Ignacio. The fact that Wojcik called him and said, hey, go back to the shelter and tell them to go look for my son, knowing damn well that we had him. And what we all suspect happened is that he knows he's dead and gone. What is he coming here to do?
He wants to know until you talk to him. Like I said before, us having him at all was a rift between Mama Cass and Don Wosik. So, if she is still alive, perhaps he is still her man. If she is not, then they know everything. You have to flip a coin and decide what you think, I guess.
It begs the question, if they already know, why bother playing this game? When they could just bring it to the court and have us all
Have you known-
in an instant.
Have you known many vampires, Lucio?
I'm about 2 years dead. You tell me. Do I know a lot for my age?
Perhaps, but in this instance, perhaps not enough.
You really need to learn to start giving straight answers.
Why would I do that? It's
It makes
better
all
to...
our lives easier.
Yeah, but you would give a man a fish or teach a man to fish.
You're not teaching.
Aren't I, though?
Finish your fucking thought, please.
Oh, that was it. Vampires play games because what else will we do? It's a lot of time to occupy.
That's a good point. What I was going to say is, if it was, again, I know you hate when I bring him up, but what would Credius do? Would he go directly to the courts and get them involved, or would he play mind games with them like he did with us when he was teaching us that class?
In his own words, he would likely try and cozy up to us until we become so dependent on him that when he pulls the rug out from under us, we collapse completely.
Exactly, that's a fucking game.
Fine, I see your point.
You've been in this game for quite some time. Before I even came, this game was running.
And there it is. The bittersweet state, cast in bas relief, open for everyone to view what may be at stake. One of the many things belabored by Critias throughout the entirety of the class was the importance of the traditions and how they could be used to both set someone free, to act as they deem necessary, and shackle one's enemies. Bound by law and yet set free by them all at the same time. And as if the dark omen that only the truth could ever be, as you all make it to the ground floor and exit out into the shelter proper, you all see Hugo being escorted through the premises towards the office. Sebastian, his ever helpful, conscientious clerical self, with Hugo, his hands in his pockets, his blazer open, and him lazily walking by, his bulk dwarfing Sebastian so many times over that it looks as if it's something straight out of the pages of some comic book drawn in the mid-90s. His platinum hair spotted through with gray here and there, and his all too youthful face that bears no small resemblance towards Arsenio and Lucio and Ignacio, who no longer exists, as well as the Don himself, and by extension Silvio as well. There is a certain familiarity about the features therein. And his wry smile sitting there. I'm not sure you guys would come to the door to meet me, but nice place you got here all the same. Mind if we step into your office?
Better than being out here. Shall we go?
She just opens the door and walks in like she's going to the principal's office.
As you all step in, and Sebastian doesn't bat much of an eye, but then heads off, Kira stops in the doorway, checking the door jambs as he finally moves in and waits for you all to close the door. In the doing, he empties his pockets. He sets an hourglass on the desk and then sits out a little of this and a little of that. Small little nothing. There's a bit of bone and there's flecks of something metallic spread throughout.
What are you doing?
And then there's the black candle, which he sets down as well. Figured you all want to do a weapons check, so I'm sending it all out here. If we want to have a conversation, you all need to let me do what I need to do to make sure that this place is private, or at least this room is anyway.
Just towards Sophia.
The stuff he pulled out, any have any special significance to me, or?
Yeah, it's a warding against spirits. It's a very...
Sophia will shrug at Hestia and go, "Need to keep unwanted ears away."
Okay.
Being as we all are going to be part of this, I need you all to take part as well. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to take just enough of the dust to fit in the palm of your hand. It's laced with steel and various other few other things. You're going to hit all of the borders of this room. Each one of you. And then I'll light the candle and then we can start. We only have until the candle burns down. It's quick and dirty, but it should do the job.
Let's get started then. Lucio will hold out his hand.
He provides. And then he looks to the rest of you all.
Miriam will do the same.
I guess Hestia is as curious as she is, she's gonna hold her hand out.
Yep, I'll get in on it too.
So as you all receive the dust of some saint, and you're not sure how you know that that is the case, but you are sure that that is exactly what it is. It is the bone dust of some saint with ground bits of steel. And as he suggests, you all move to the boundaries of this space and apply it as quickly and wholly unbroken as possible. Once you all are done, he takes out his electric lighter and lights the candle. Now that's only going to give us about 6-7 solid minutes in a place like this. It's going to burn brighter with the more access to the other side of the veil. As long as this candle is going, no spirit can enter into this space. So I figure you all want to talk true, so talk true real quick. What do you got?
How did he know right away?
He don't, but the spirits ain't coming back with no mention of Aggie boy, so he's a little worried. This ain't the first time Aggie's gone off on his own, but it is the one time where the spirits ain't coming back with no information. So I'm taking it you guys did the deed and finally killed them, huh? Nice.
Where's
He was
Mama's
already
ass?
dead.
No, he wouldn't. I staked them myself.
He was an empty body by the time we took it out.
Oh fuck, you guys left him staked this whole time?
Yeah, he was too long. It happens.
Well, by accident or by purpose, that works out. Mama Cass figured you all would have just done it right away anyway.
Is she still with us, Mama Cass?
Oh yeah, she's tending the factory out there in the Chicago Heights area.
The reason we asked how did he know is because literally the second it was done, my phone rang. And it was Bosek.
So you all just got rid of the body? What the fuck? Okay, look. So there hasn't been any information yet. There will probably be some information later based on how many bugs he's placed on you guys. So if I were you all,
What do you mean? Just got rid of the body. We fucking incinerated it. What else were we supposed to do?
cut the head off, put the ashes in 2 separate bodies of water. You know, the usual.
Miriam will pull a face like that's a thing.
Usually not, but it's better safe than sorry. And moving bodies of water often connect with various ley lines. Keeps the energies from staying in the place where you did the deed. The soul is forced along because there's a whole structure on the other side of the veil.
I have some
It's
pointed
fine.
questions, but I will let everyone else go first. If there is time, I have questions.
It's fine, I can retrieve the ash and scatter it later, but the point is, what do you, like, how much more destroyed can you get besides incineration?
You all make me tired, you know that, right? You're supposed to be hounds, smart cookies. I never really thought so, but there's destroyed and then there's destroyed. The souls, the spirits, the specters, the other side still matters. So where the body falls, where the feathers are, is where the soul typically resides. Hence the reason why you toss it in the river, mix it with the ley lines, keep the soul moving from one particular place to another until you have long enough to either capture it with its own feathers or completely destroy the spirit as well.
The thing is, when we put him in the oven, he was already starting to decompose. There was no soul in the body.
No, that means he's already moved on.
That is not true. You misunderstand how all that works. It's not, I can explain later. I mean, you can waste time asking questions if you wish. I will not stop you, but...
We only have a few minutes. Let's refocus here. We'll deal with that issue later.
Alright, so anyway, the old man is getting a little wise. None of his information is coming back the way that it has been coming back before. He knows that other people are interfering. He don't know who just yet. That's the reason why I'm here. So he wants you all to find this boy. And well, not much chance of you all doing that, considering well what we know you all did. You all can keep him busy and keep him off your ass by following a trail. Mama Cass left one. His last possessions and some of the things that matter to him and what he was up to, along with the girls he was up to it with, they're spread all around the city. Spread all out throughout the south suburbs, all the way down to Indianapolis. She called in a lot of favors, even got those damn ministry folks involved. So there's a lot of interference keeping the Don from knowing exactly what happened. And as long as he doesn't know exactly what happened, he's gonna have to believe what you tell him, if you do it. And he's arrogant, just like you, Lucy boy. What you say goes, and you get that from your old man.
Where does this trail begin?
There's a little spot over in Gary. It's called the Salacious or some shit. And I recently had to go over there and burn a building down. So go to the Salacious, snoop around, pry around, get involved in the bullshit that's going on over there. It'll keep him busy, or at least make it look like you're doing it. And while you're busy with that, Mama Cat will keep calling in favors to keep him off your trail until you decide what you're gonna do. Yeah, she ain't as good as she thinks she is. Her favors ain't gonna last as long as she thinks they're gonna last. So you all need to come up with a plan real quick for this friendship. And I promise you, it is a friendship right now. We'll go south real fast, because if it's a choice between you and her, she's gonna choose her every single solitary time.
What's the end game here?
Well, if you take out Don Seek, that leaves Mama Cass to pick up the reins.
Where is Wojcik now?
Toronto. He'll be back tomorrow.
Back in the south suburbs, right? Your church down there?
You know about that. Nah, he's coming to Power Central, St. Jerome's. It's the biggest access point to borrow a little energy from here so he can dig deeper into that world.
St. Jerome's, huh? I see. And will Mama Cass be there as well?
Fuck no, she's doing everything she can to stay the fuck away from him. Proximity increases strength, you know that.
Understood.
But she can't stay away forever. Sooner or later, something's gonna come to light. And Don ain't stupid. He's arrogant. He's a little blinded by his own power and strength that he's managed over these years. But he ain't stupid. It'll take him a little time. But he'll get there.
The end game you said was to take out or take down Wojcik. Officially, we cannot antagonize you or him.
Yeah, officially. Which means don't get caught. Don't mean you can't do it. Doesn't mean you can't get caught.
That is the real first tradition.
Amen to that. Alright. I have some ideas of how this can play out. Anyone else have questions they'd like to ask?
I do if you all are done.
Kessia makes the zip slips and locks it, throws the key away.
Miriam will shake her head.
I start out by saying that I would still like to have a sit down with Mama Cass, just the two of us. A brief one, neutral ground, obviously. If you could pass that along for me. The other thing is, what has happened to Blakeney? What is her role in all this?
The Queen of Darkness? Mama Cat's been making overtures for this whole last couple of months. Blakeney's been turning her down cold. Wants nothing to do with it because she thinks it's a trap.
I thought the Seek was working with her already in the South End.
Enemy of my enemy and all that good stuff don't make them friends.
Fair enough. So what is her role in this now with him?
If you make a move official, she's got to side with a business partner. If you don't, who's to say? If you guys had an in with her, now would be the time to use it.
And say they've got the opposite, but sometimes the tables can turn around. That was my big question. Still has Thin Blood Army in the south?
I wouldn't call them an army, but yeah.
Is there a hole to exploit there? We have someone who would be interested in that knowledge that might be able to neutralize that factor.
I was hoping you wouldn't know about that, because that's gonna be really, 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 really fucking bad. You all not gonna like it. No one really does, but the Thin Blood, the deaths count almost as much as humans when you kill them. So making them, to kill them, to build that energy up, is what Seek has been doing. He's going to, he's already tried it once already. It was pretty successful. He's been able to tap into the fullness, shut down the energy flow into this place.
Very interesting.
Unfortunately,
She doesn't say anything, but she, like, her jaw tightens.
It's an interesting concept. You kill them twice as much energy, right?
and the replenishing batteries is close to being fully green energy as you can have. You ain't gotta kill humans the whole time, but you still get that boost.
Seems like these Duskborn are much more useful than even they imagined. We'll file that away for later. So it will need to be removed from him, however. How we would do so, I do not know, because there are always more Duskborn to be made.
Who will you tell it? It's one of the reasons why the Dawn had to take out Alexa. She was getting too good at her job, replenishing the resources.
Fair enough. And sending her here was just a red herring breadcrumb trail to follow for us.
He thought you all would find in your territory, do something stupid, make sure that everybody knew she was here, try to help her out, maybe do something big enough that would attract others' attention to keep you all busy. I was surprised you didn't. Normally you guys could go through some heroics and attract all sorts of attention. This time you kept it pretty low key. What'd you do with her, by the way?
She's gone. No one will ever see her again.
Can't say that's not smart, but you know.
Where's her soul? Has it been destroyed, or is it still floating around out there? What
better soul to use as your lynch servant than something that refuses to die? She's his go-between right now. He keeps us safe from the Legionnaires on the other side. She does his bidding with the promise that eventually she'll be put back in her own body.
Well, that seems to be impossible now, doesn't it? He can't possibly have all her fetters, does he?
No, but he has our key. The prime one.
Well, that's certainly an edge, but not a damning one. Anyone else have questions now?
Just two, I suppose, now that all this has come to light. Just to make sure we're covering all of our bases. Did Wojcik know about Sylvia?
Who?
That answers that question. Second question. how did the Thin Blood's leader, Julian, know that Alexa was dead?
What do you mean Thin Blood's leader? Thought that guy was already over in Washington.
He's here.
Oh, shit. Fucking hell.
He handed me a phone if you'd like to have a look at it.
Nah, just give me the number. I'll do some research.
Did Lucio remember the number? I remember he looked at the contact.
Yeah, that's fine. He
Alright, he'll give him the number then.
That's a fucking fly in the ointment we don't need right now. Alright, so that being the case, somebody put that fucking thing out. I gotta go. We gotta adjust and adapt. He wasn't supposed to be back for a couple of months or a couple of years based on the damage you all did to his forces before. It's the reason why this Force of Beulah's guy has been such a thorn. Now with them two potentially working together, shit's gonna hit the fan. You all do what you need to do real fucking fast. That Julian guy's a fucking threat. He's almost as bad of a Hakata as... Well, anyway.
He's Hakata?
No, but he somehow has learned a lot of what it takes to manipulate the spirits.
Would you like that
That
answer?
would have been Sylvia.
As an aside, Sylvia was to remarry, so she does it in a way that we do not do, so we probably not pick up on it as quickly.
God fucking damn it. Alright, I gotta go deal with this. You all get the salacious. Talk to, there's a Toreador, anyway, you'll know her. She's a big to-do in the tower, something or other. Big party going on out there in Dalton in the next couple of weeks. You probably should get an invite. I gotta go deal with this. You all deal with whatever you're gonna do and do it quick. Don will be back in 2 days, properly ensconced in power, and I guarantee you he's already working at solving this from his end. He's already sent a couple of hitters after your Vivi and her little silver-haired guy. So
He's coming back tomorrow, or is he coming back in 2 days?
he's coming back tomorrow, but he won't be fully ensconced. There's a...
Got it.
And he looks towards Sophia. How much have you told them?
Only as much as I had to. You know how the family is about that.
All right.
Perhaps it's time we talked a little more. You know, they have their need to know is a little greater than it was, I guess.
All right, you hit them, let them know about the attuning to... But anyway, you do that. I'll do this. You all are on the clock. I gotta go. Fucking Thin Bloods. God damn it. Fucking son of a... And he storms out in a huff, in a rush.
So that's the thing that happened.
Is the candle still burning?
Yes.
Do I know he just left, so does that validate the ward that he left it, or...
It'll be there until the candle completely burns out.
Okay, I didn't know whether, like, him leaving broke the circle. So, because of who I am and what I am, there are many things I cannot tell you, but I've probably alluded to it before, that my clan is run by an inter-council, much like your Turmere was before they were all killed. I have some connections to this inter-council, is why Wolseek cannot just reach out and swat me directly like he could any other clan member in town. We are seeking to impose what he wants to do. However, because I am tied directly to that council, there is things that I can talk about and things that I cannot talk about. I know that this is probably frustrating for you, but I cannot break the rules that were given to me.
What can you talk about?
That is a very open-ended question. Technically, I am not supposed to volunteer any sort of our secrets, so there are things that I can divulge if asked directly.
What can you
So
tell
what
me?
question should we
Go ahead.
ask?
It depends on what you want to know.
I want to know what the end game to all of this is. I want to know what the real importance of the Haven is. And I want to know what a fucking god machine is.
Well, some of that I cannot talk about, but I can tell you that the Haven is part of the God Machine. And I can tell you that as far as an end game goes, it's a global sect-wide domination is the end game. Somebody has to win this war eventually.
War within the clan, or war between the clan and other sects?
War between every kindred on the face of the planet. See, not many know this, but my clan has an agreement with the tower. They have since since they became the Giovanni. They've had this agreement, and it says that we will be free agents able to operate as we wish, as long as we do not interfere with Camarilla interests, and vice versa. They will not interfere with our interests. However, that agreement is coming to an end. Depends on who you ask when it will do. But eventually it will end, and then it would be every man for himself. There will be no more treaty. What happens when treaties expire?
Immortal fucking beings decided to put an expiration date on a treaty.
Every treaty has an expiration date. There are those among the Hakata who feel like as soon as the agreement is over, that we will all be beset. There are people among the other side that feel the same. There are people who feel it may be fine. There are really as many opinions on what will happen when this comes to end as there are kindred involved.
Is there anyone working to renew the agreement?
Not to my knowledge. I'm sure there are. But the tower now is so fractured from the Inquisition. It's not really in a position to, either make enemies or to negotiate further peace treaties. But to answer your question, this is all larger than Chicago. It's larger than one haven, one nexus point. It's just what we have to deal with. Our part of it is right here in this building, in this town.
All right.
Justia kind of calms herself because she was internally raging and looks at Sophia. The thing is, I gave up any potential knowledge I might have gotten from Sylvia when we put her in the oven. I need a way to access that information or something similar to it. And I know you can't really teach certain things to outsiders. Is there any way that you can teach me enough to be of assistance to not only you and ourselves, but the Tremere, so that they don't withdraw their help from us? I need to at least know some of what Sylvia knew as to how to control spirits or ward a building against them.
This is not something that the decision on whether someone can learn outside the clan is far above my pay grade, or however you say it. The way we would do it and the way Sylvia did it, I assume, are two different things, and I don't think you want to go down the road of how we do it. You are a bit squeamish for that.
Maybe some of that squeamishness is rubbing off or wearing away. Actually, the thing is, knowledge is important to me. So if there's a way for you to go to somebody on my behalf and ask them, I'd appreciate it. I know there's probably going to be things in trade that they want.
Oh yes, the price will be rather high, I'm sure.
I'm willing to at least entertain the thought of it, because I need to have access to things I lost when I got rid of Sylvia. She was the only one I knew that knew the things she knows. As you said, we're mostly destroyed right now. There's nobody else I can really go to.
Certainly someone has the knowledge. Let me put it this way, however, to put everything on the table and be frank, you know what they will ask for in return. Are you willing to give that?
Storyteller, do I know what they would ask for in return?
Your haven.
Access to it, or the whole entire thing?
They have to have it. If it was merely access, we are already there. I am here, right? I am here working with you to keep it away from Woseek, but the clan still needs it.
There is no way that revelation did not hit as if you put a grenade in someone's bunk bed. Even Miriam, as far removed from the whole supernatural gobbledygook that you all have been enmeshed in from day one, sees it for the bombshell that it is. If it was just access, they already have it. But it's not just access. And while neither Miriam nor Sophia were there when the Dawn explained what was needed and what was necessary, the truth cannot be denied where it is, just like true love. It cannot be hidden or obfuscated permanently. And as that truth sits there dancing in front of your face, Lucio and Hestia realize several other things. In the effort to protect themselves from the Dawn's pernicious attempts to tire them, to defeat them, to make themselves too burdened by the weight of keeping the shelter, there were several other people present. Clyde, who no longer exists. Bill, who is out there in the world tonight. Julius, who is still servant to the Tremere. And Dizzy. And the list goes on. And if you go down the checklist, the last two remaining members of the coterie, as it was, are Hestia and Lucio, with the bequeathment being Arsenio, and then falling to Sophia. And the Dawn already has Arsenio.
The killer is calling from inside the house.
Very much so. And as that realization sits there, realizing just how many threads back and forth are tied together, one small niggling fact that no one else is quite aware of, Miriam is aware that their sire asked them about a grimoire in connection with Decibel. It's a very small world. Everything does in fact tie together. One domino really does knock over the entirety of every last house of cards erected by the coterie and their enemies, both real and imagined. The clock, never the friend of the gathered coterie, has in fact gotten downright abusive. 2 nights for the Dawn to return to his seat of power, to reattune to the site of St. Jerome's, to once more tap into the residual energies automatically cast off by the Haven and use them towards his own end. 2 nights to the end of the world, 1 night to the pre-game, 1 night to the dress rehearsal. And the clock ticks by, with thoughts of what to do next and how to do it sitting there before the coterie. I'd like to thank you all for a lovely session, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night all.